these feet that's similar to this one. You can see how big the frog is in this foot. You see that little area right here. It's not very much. Same here, frog here. These are two different wild horses' feet. Here we have the barefoot model. No frog, no frog. That digital cushion has been pulled from up here all the way down here. This is deformation and distortion. So let's go back this way. Okay, so it's been a while. I have been looking at this for a long time. And I even got into an argument with Ray Hannon over at one time, well, a disagreement, because I was looking at a sagittal section like this and I said, yeah, it shouldn't be that bulbous. And she said, well, it probably was cut. It probably wasn't cut right down the center. Okay. And I was thinking, yeah, it's cut down the center, but I can see why she said it might not be cut down the center because of this. Just a minute here. Oh, okay. So kind of the shape of the thing in the back is like this here. Okay. So if you were to cut it over here, then you were to look at the side of it here, it'd be real wide. See there? Okay, but if you get it cut right in the center, it should only be narrow, like the healthy ones I've just shown you. So she thought that was probably cut to the side. So we were like just having this a friendly disagreement, and stuff. But it's been taking me years to come back to it to start thinking this again. And what brought me back to it was the fact that Lindsay Field did a dissection where she dissected, where she sliced the foot like this. So you could see what a slice through that section looked like. Now, what should it look like from the side? Okay, this would be behind. What about from the side? From the side, this part here should only look about like this. Something like that. Um, so, okay, so now let's look over here. Look at the different shapes. Okay, so we're going to go through some different shapes and look at them. Let me get a good marker here. Well, I'll use green. Okay, so this one. Now look at this interesting thing here. Okay, right there. You know what that is? That is when all this anatomy was being forced and pulled down, and the frog that was here is being forced under the foot. And as it bent right here, a little piece of frog went up into to push into the bottom of the foot right there. Looky there. Let me see this little piece here. That's an old piece of frog right there. And notice this horse ain't foundered. He hasn't got a laminar wedge. Nothing's come apart up here, but he's sure got a lot of coffin bone worn off. Okay. But why is that? Because of what it does when all the anatomy gets shoved down and forward and pushed into the coffin joint, it wears the coffin bone away. Yeah, it really bugs me that these gals are teaching it's okay for your horse to be sore at every trim. It's just normal, and he's just building up his digital cushion. Okay, so look at this one. Look at the shape of this one. Compared to this one. See, all body parts should be relatively shaped the same when they're healthy. So we got two different ones here. Well, if we're looking, we go, well, which one's healthy? Well, how about neither one? Let's see. Okay, so here's one that's a totally different shape here. Now, this one, again, what do I teach? That when you take all this anatomy and you shove it forward, you shove it into this joint, which makes this coffin bone rotate down and back and separate from the wall. This is mechanical laminitis. And all this stuff you see here is damage from this digital cushion being forcefully deformed and from the horse having to pound the back of his foot and his bulbs when he's not supposed to be like that. Here we have a totally different shaped one. Again, this hairline's still too low. Not as bad as the others, but even though this is different, horse farriers like to trim the sole out from the toe right here, so it's no wonder that horses separate in the wall. Here's another digital cushion, different shape. This is not, again, not how it's supposed to be in the back of the foot. This hairline here should be clear up here. Well, at least up, right about up here, at least. So again, this is a form of distortion here. And all this, as far as I'm concerned, is damage. This is that fibrocartilage that we're talking about. That's not even supposed to be there. Now, not too bad. See, um, not too bad, but I still think this was a bound foot. And here's the foot they said was so good. No frog at all. So let me see if I'm in the right space. Just a minute. Okay. Let's see. Oops, where you at? There you go. Okay, so we're just going to go through and just look at the different shapes. So this is what I'm going to have somebody do because I started cutting all these out. I want to just cut them all out and then show just the digital cushions. Now look at this one. Okay, so it's been pulled down. The frog was pulled under. Right here, the frog bent up and squeezed all this in a bad way. Now look, that has a tight dorsal wall. So does this one. Okay, just got to move something there. Again, different shapes. This one, long, still hairline pulled clear down here. This should not look like that.
Linda,
Yeah. Oh,
it's
hi.
It's Berta.
Hi.
Hey, dear. It's no wonder why you have to keep that the sole, the bars, the frog pliable
Mm-hmm.
to get anything to move.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Cheyenne.
Yeah.
That's just, yeah, it's a lot.
It is. And
A
because
lot.
then when you're removing it, then it wants to grow as well because that's what the foot is, that's the way it's created to be. The,
Mm-hmm.
uh like Alexander the Great said, the only time they ever had to stop their conquest was for 2 weeks to let the horse's feet grow. And when I was with BLM talking to this guy at a wild horse adoption one time, he said when they first get them, their feet grow like crazy. But after 6 months, they slow down. Well, they're growing like crazy because they're out getting all this exercise and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we're trimming them, trying to correct them. It stands to reason. Well, it's going to accelerate growth as well. And so it's hard to keep up, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. There's a different one yet. This is kind of one you will see kind of this shape quite a bit, but it's still not correct. Right in here, that frog should go up like this. The frog should be a different shape. Okay, now look at this one. It's pulled down that way. Different shape yet. I collected a bunch of hers. She's welcome. I'm the one that got her doing her dissection. She's welcome. See all the different shapes? See this one? Oh yeah, you can go buy this from her if you want. 395 bucks for a little fake slice of foot. Different shape, different shape. Here's Chris Pollitt. Yeah, we'll fair use on you too, Chris Pollitt. Okay, so different shape altogether. Here, I'm going to advertise for her again. 300 little slice of plastic foot painted silver with your little diagram and $375. Okay, digital cushion. Look at that digital cushion. Where's the frog? Where's the frogorium? Well, I collected a lot of hers. Hey, I'm thankful she did these so that I can have more ammunition about how traditional farriery that she supports now is destroying these feet. This is the teachings of Chris Pollitt and his buddies in Farrier Land that have inherited these horrible traditions where they're trimming the heels out of everything and deforming and distorting the digital cushion. See, they'll say that this is healthy, these all these fibers, but I'm saying that what this really is that they've been looking at deformed feet and then making their judgments on deformed feet. Here we go. Oh, now who? Oh, Professor Pollitt. Yes. Okay, you can get this hoof here from him for $450. Don't waste your money. Okay, another digital cushion, another digital cushion. See how they're all different? Hey, she's done more to help me by doing these, even though she don't know what she's looking at, than anybody else. So I'm glad that I did get her to doing dissections, even if she went over to the dark side. That's funny. I'm sorry, but that's funny. It is. When you come around full circle and say you're supporting the work of a dyed-in-the-wool veterinarian farrier that believes in all that old crap, you've joined the dark side. Okay. So see, she's got a lot of digital cushions, and that's a good deal. Oh, she just have a cow. So this is not how a digital cushion is supposed to be shaped. And the hairline is not supposed to be down here. Let me go. Okay. Well, just a second here. No, let's see. So what we're going to do is we're going to take pictures from all over the web, not just her. She's got most of them, and I'm thankful for it. And we're going to cut out these digital cushions just to show you all the different shapes that they are. Uh-oh. Okay, just a minute. Share. Okay, let's look at this one. Here's from the College of Veterinary Medicine, Cornell University. Now look at the shape of that digital cushion. Again, this is not supposed to be like that. This digital cushion, due to incorrect trimming by the experts, like the ones at Cornell Veterinary University here, okay, this digital cushion has been pulled down from right about here. It's been pulled down and deformed. That's a long ways to pull a piece of anatomy under and bend it under the foot. See, there's that one again, that one. So all these are different. I had some other ones. Let me see, just a minute here. Pause. Okay, so I'm going to go to some files and show you some of mine. Let's see, how do I do this? Share, stop share. Okay. Okay, so just a minute here. Okay, here's a good example. Just a minute here. Keep losing the share button. There we go. Okay, so the area we're again that we're looking at is right in here. And this is the foot that I have where I took half of it out. I took the half on, I think it was either this side or the other side. I can't remember now. Took half of the whole foot out so that I could see where the digital cushion was over here. And I kept the cartilage on it. And so what we're looking at when we see those bulbous, rounded, weird shaped digital cushions, this is the area we're looking at is right here. And so what we're seeing is we're seeing this to be deformed and stretched down over 2 inches. It's like if I took the back of this foot and I just torqued it and pulled it and forced it under and forward. How painful must that ultimately be? But see, it's done a little bit at a time. You know, with each trim, it's pulled down a little more and a little more and a little more and a little more, and it's held in place by the capsule as this is happening. This is an example. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. This would, if we cut down the center, okay, see this area up here? This is what it should be shaped like, just like that. And this is ultimately what happens to it. Where it's up here, it gets pulled down. The frog itself is stripped out of the foot and pushed forward. And you can kind of tell that something's wrong. I mean, look at that little nub in there. That there shouldn't be something like that. Yeah, it says internal destruction of the digital cushion and foot forced into a smaller capsule. Frog thickness is reduced. Okay, so here again, the digital cushion. Again, this piece right here and the frog stay, which is right here. Okay, first of all, know that this again is the foot that back when I was barefoot trimming, that I trimmed the heels out of this horse and it was pulling the whole back of his foot down and under. And it was as it was pulling the foot under, it was bending his frog up into the foot. And this is also the foot where I show you how when I took the hoof capsule off, the whole back of the coronary band and bulbs and everything was all bent down, and how in a few days it returned back up to its pretty much normal size, at which time I tried to set it on the frog that I had taken out of the hoof capsule and it would not set on the frog. So this part here on this horse is deformed, but at the time I didn't know it. This area here should have been higher, up higher this way. And this guy is awesome. Dr. C. Van Horst, who does plastinate on these slices. Now, I don't know if this is directly in the center. I pretty much think it is. But look how the digital cushion has been pulled down from here and everything pulled down. Well, then what happens right here? Literally, the skin has been pulled up into here, the frog corium, and then this look at this little piece. That would be old dead frog wedged up into the bottom of the foot right there. This is his too, Dr. Van Horst. Again, and here, look at this. Now the horse is not, they would not say this horse is foundered because it has no separation in the wall here. But what has happened, taken all this anatomy and pushed it into the coffin joint, which is made the foot here rotate downward. And so now you have this toe of a coffin bone that's been worn away to where it's rounded. What do they call that when bone wears away? Can't remember right now. Oh, look at this baby. Again, all that fat pulled down, and as it's being shoved forward into the foot, this part right here actually shoved back up into the foot like that. See, body parts are not supposed to have this great a degree of shape and form. Okay. Maybe some different sizes, but not this severely different shape and form. And so here's the thing, they never look at the back of the foot, ever. They never look at all this stuff. All they're looking at is these bones here and that bony column. Got to have them bones in alignment. But look at the difference. So this would be relatively the true shape here. And I'd put that red there just to show how the frog would grow, how the frog would support it up like this. And then, of course, you got to have heels that are going to support it up like this too. And then as the heels are trimmed out, it takes this here and it just stretches and pulls the anatomy down, strips the frog out of the foot as the frog is going forward, just like what you see here. The bulbs are here. The bulb is here, down here, and it should be high up off the ground behind the foot. So there's that one. And then here again, what's happened here? As pulling it up under here, it has shoved part of the frog back there. Here's some digital cushions I thought was interesting. Okay, so look at this one here. They probably think this is the worst one. I don't know about that. This one isn't too bad. They're all kind of so, but see, this one here, the bulbs are pulled down like this. This right here should be up here. None of them are correct. you know. This is okay, see those golden droplets of oil? That's from the digital cushion because it is a fat cushion. I think I showed this one before, but look how as it was being forced this way, okay, uh well, when you're pushing on stuff, where's it gonna go? So this piece of frog here, this frog corium, got shoved up that way, and so it's growing this weird frog.
Stuff is going to go the path of least resistance.
Ah, that's a good way to put it.
Yep. So
Yep,
you look at that foot. Where's that frog going to go? Is it going to go up front underneath the bone in the heart sole, or is it going to go shoving itself back up behind the fat?
yeah.
It's going to go where it's easiest to move to.
Okay, so here again, you take all this anatomy, pull it down, and shove it forward into the coffin joint. It rotates the coffin bone down, pushing it against the sole and pulling it away from the dorsal wall. That is mechanical laminitis. So look at this one. See, all of this here pushing into that coffin joint, pushing it forward. The horse is actually standing on its tiptoe. And so it wore the bone completely off right there. The bone should have been longer, about down to here. Meanwhile, the dorsal wall just kept going that way. And that sole, he didn't even have a laminar wedge, which is the interesting thing. There isn't even a laminar wedge on this horse. This is all sole. All that in there is sole. It's what amazes me is how these horses still have sole, growing sole corium, uh, but they've worn away their coffin bones. Who would think that that foot was even like that? That the bones were like that? Again, that's because the back of this foot was so deformed and distorted and forcing all that anatomy in that it forced this joint forward and forced this toe down. And finally, after years, he just wore it off. This horse can live with this, but this still isn't right. This frog should be clear up here. And then, okay, then just go and look at pictures uh, uh, that people post of the anatomy, and you're going to see in all the drawings different shapes of digital cushions as well. Like we would know, so they're looking at a deformed foot when they saw that one because this is not supposed to be down like that. And look where the hairline is. Let's go take their course. See, for however many bucks they want to get out of us. Yep, that's not right. Oh, let's see. Okay, here we could probably buy this foot for, I don't know, a couple $100 maybe, a little fake slice of foot with some paint on it. Look at that one. Holy cow. Again, this is amazing looking at this because this horse does not have a laminar wedge. I do not see that. That looks like sole to me. Like the sole corium, as the bone wore out, the sole corium just kind of smooshed up that way, and so it grew sole out like this.